Hey, this is Joy. Welcome back to my channel. I've got a fun card to share with you today. It's part of a hop, so please be sure to check the description box below. But I am part of the Card Hoppin' Facebook group, and this is where we bring a year's worth of techniques. And for October, we were supposed to use retiform or geometric with a fall theme. I chose to do some hot foiling with my Glimmer system from Spellbinders. I started out by foiling the sealed flower background plate, and I did that with a gold aura foil onto some dark brown cardstock, and I used my Glimmer Hot Foil System for that and ran it through my Platinum 6. Now comes the fun part. I am using a wax seal kit that I got on Amazon, and also a silicone mat that's got the circles in there so that you can pour the wax into it. Now, Spellbinders does have their own system. I already owned this, so I didn't purchase one, but they do have a very nice selection of the metal stamps and of the actual kit if you don't have one. So I lit a votive candle, and I am melting a red wax. And while that's going on, I am die cutting the sealed sprig dies. So that's a combination of 3 different leaves. And I'm doing that on some gold pearlescent cardstock. And you're going to see that I use a crafter's wand to stir my wax every once in a while. And that's just to make sure that I've got a really good melt and I don't have any clumps. I pour that in to one of the circular shapes, and I pour it in using like a twirling motion. You're going to see I don't get a perfect circle. I'm okay with that. I think that's the charm of wax seals, is that they are imperfect and it looks like it's homemade. So I am now taking one of the leaf stamps that came with my wax kits, and I'm placing that down, and I wait until that solidifies for a little bit to remove it. If you remove it too quick, you're just going to have a wet, melty mess. And it's kind of a trial and error, so I encourage you that if you get one of these systems to try it and see what you come up with. It's a lot of fun, so I pour quite a few. The second one, I'm doing the exact same process, the same color wax, but you're going to see that I get a much better melt. I find that when you do a first melt, you should use 4 of those cubes, and every subsequent melt after that, only use 3, because you've already got some leftover wax in your spoon. I stamped that down, and I got another wax ready to go, because once you start this, you can't stop. I do later on bring in a pearlescent white just to get a different look. I, however, do not use it on a card. I make a card later on with it. Here you're going to see that I added a little bit of gold, and if you mix 2 colors in the spoon, when you swirl that out, you get the coolest marbling. So like I said, you really, really need to play with this and just go at it. You're not gonna screw up. I mean, the worst you can do is say, hey, I don't like the shape of this, and you put it back in the spoon and you remelt it. I use my crafter's wand just because it's got a nice little tip on there to pick up my wax. The wax is somewhat flexible, so you don't have to worry about it breaking when you mail it or when you apply it to your cards. And it does come straight out of that silicone. It doesn't stick. It's perfect. That's the beauty of silicone. Spellbinders does sell actually their kit comes with a silicone mat. It doesn't have the pre-made circles on it, but really it's not necessary. This is just what I had in my stash. I'll link it below in case you are interested in it, but like I said, not necessary at all. So here you're going to see that I took one of the sealed sentiment stamps. It's a photopolymer stamp from Spellbinders, and I put that down into the wax, and I really didn't know what the results were going to be. I know that you can do it with red rubber stamps, But evidently you can do it with photopolymer. I showed you there that the photopolymer didn't melt, nothing stuck to it, and it was perfect. Now it was hard to read, and I think it's because I pulled it up before the wax was completely hardened. But anyhow, I am going to show you that final result. Here is the white one with the pearlescent. Now my kit came with a gold and a silver pen. And so if you very lightly rub that pen over it, it makes that embossed area kind of show up on your wax seal. And I'm showing you that it actually, in my opinion, shows up better on the red. But again, you can mess with that. Spellbinders has these pens in their shop as well. So be sure to check it out either on Spellbinders or on Amazon. I do believe that the Spellbinders is probably a better quality kit. This one was pretty cheap and it showed. I'm not gonna lie about that. I mean, it is what it is. Now with this one that I stamped, I first take that marker and I rub it over the entire wax seal, and you can't make out what it says. So I start rubbing it with my thumb, and I thought, I wonder if you took a baby wipe. So I took a damp baby wipe, and basically what that did was rub off the part that was on top, and the part that sunk down into the stamped area stayed gold. And that way you were able to read it. It doesn't show really well on camera, but in person it is pretty. So now I am bringing back the sealed sprigs, and I am just using my crafter's wand to poke that out of the gold pearlescent cardstock. And I love how easy these came out. These cut like a dream. Now I'm trying to figure out my design. I cut down my foiled panel to 3 3/4 by 5, and I am backing that with some double-sided adhesive foam, and I am wrapping that with some licorice twine from Spellbinders. Now Spellbinders does have a die that looks like twine, so you wouldn't have to mess with all of this. They didn't send me that, so for right now we're using twine. I am sure that I am going to pick up that twine, that faux twine die. That way I could have any color cardstock on there, but for right now we're using the black. And I popped that up on the same color card base, an A2 side fold card base. And now I'm just arranging my sealed sprigs, and I am just putting glue down on a very small portion of it. In fact, I don't even glue down the leaves on this one because I want it kind of free floating. And I do use my ink smushing tool to hold that down. If you have an acrylic block, it would do the same thing. And I am just arranging these using my Barely Art glue that you can find in the Spellbinder shop, just in a trio. It turns out very classy, very pretty. I love this card. Now you're going to see that I choose not to use a sentiment on this card. I don't necessarily believe that you have to have a sentiment for every single card. You can always stamp them on the inside. I do put down this wax seal with the Barely Art glue. So again, this is part of a video hop, so please check out the description box below for everybody that's participating. Please check them out. And again, if you have stuck through this with me, I would love it if you would give me a like, a comment, a thumbs up, and even consider subscribing. Here are some last looks at my cards. And friends, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Until next time, keep crafting. Bye-bye.